So my name is Paul Chaleff, and I'm from New York. I was born in New York City, and currently I live about in the countryside, about 100 miles north of New York City. For the past 51 years, I've been making work out of clay. So since I'm 20 years old, I've been working just with clay. At first with pottery and eventually with sculpture. Now, because I've gotten to the point where I can afford to work in a grander scale, I'm working with large-scale sculpture in clay. My wife and I have a studio north of New York City, and we're able to pretty much fabricate whatever it is my ideas come up with. About this piece, okay. So, yes. So clay is a fascinating material. Clay exists all over the world, and there's various things we have to come to terms with. One is the materiality. Why do I work with this? Who am I? And what can this material do? So of course, Korea knows a lot about clay. But every culture knows a lot about clay. Every culture feels like they own clay. And I believe that's because clay was the primal medium, the first material that people made art out of, the very first. So long before drawing, long before making work of stone or wood, people had to live on the banks of rivers. That's where all the clay in the world is. Children were put on the bank of the river. They took two pieces of clay and they pushed it together and they made believe they were doing something else. And that's because human beings have a very special sense, and that's the sense of how to use metaphor. There's no other animal on earth that can use metaphor. Yes, so that brings me to this piece. What is the meaning of the piece? So the first part of the meaning of this piece has to do with the materiality. The material is clay. Just clay, stone, water, fire, and my two hands. That's all that made this. So it comes from two experiences. One is my experience of being a human being, and two is my personal experience in my life. And although these pieces look like they might be figures, they're basically two pieces that are trying to balance. It's one sculpture of two separate entities trying to find a balance. That's the idea. So that balance could be two people, a child and a parent, a husband and a wife. In my case, the idea came from an argument with my brother. Two people who love each other, but not quite connecting. So being in Korea, maybe we can look at it as a balance of two separate parts of the same country, trying to find your way. So this piece took about 6 months to make. I made the clay by hand, I formed it by hand, I fired it, I made the glaze. The black glaze is clay from the Hudson River. The lighter glaze is wood ash from warming our house. Everything is built by two hands with no technical capacity, no extra technical capacity. Okay, so bringing a clay piece to Korea is very strange because Korea knows clay so well. But it's a matter of humanity. Everybody knows clay. Everybody's the same. Everybody feels the same things about clay. And everybody has had difficulty arranging relationships. Yeah, so I'd like to thank the people of Changwon and the government of Changwon for allowing us to come and being so hospitable. Thank you so much.